folks, welcome back for another episode of Our Journeys, and as you can see, things are a little different. I actually now have an intro, and at the very end, there's actually an outro, and it's all with Roll to One. I talked about it earlier. We'll get into it in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and start on our first game. We're going to jump in. There are a few things to cover in terms of things that will be happening moving forward, but let us take a quick gander at the game. As you can see, we are watching Rimmon 2012 Friends, running a Talvani list. Believe it would be typical or classic Talvani, however you want to think of it. And he's up against Draconatus, the Resplendent. Questionable about that. He is the Invader, for sure, running Invade. And Rimmon just submitted this. And just a reminder to anybody, you can always reach out and say, hey, I've recorded a video, I've got a video. The sound quality is a little bit, of the in-game quality is a little bit off on this, but otherwise, I mean, it's going to be great, and we get to see, a game that was specifically chosen. Hey, I want you to, can you watch this? So anybody who wants to do that, you're more than welcome. You can just reach out to me, and we can work out how to get that video. As long as you recorded it, there's probably going to be a way that we can figure out together to get it here, and then we can show it here. So this is Rimmon, and it just said, this is how you fight Invade. So granted, you've got to be willing or wanting to play control, Talvani, but when you do, this is what you can do to invade. Now, just to get this out of the way while we're doing this, or just so that to inform you, I mentioned briefly a long time ago that this moment would be coming, this time would be coming for the next 2 weeks. So next Monday, like from now, 2 Mondays from now, which should be about 6 TESL videos worth, I will be posting or uploading the video here on Incarnate channel, and where it's always been, and then also on the Roll to One channel. That's where the folks who do the tabletop gaming and stuff, we've just got along really well, and it seemed like it's kind of a gaming hub, if you will. And so it's like, all right, I'll join forces with that. We already tabletop together. We'll go ahead and I'll bring what gaming I do over to that channel as well. So for the next 6 episodes of TESL and all the other content in between for the next 2 weeks, you'll be getting it here as you always do, but then also on Roll to One. So at any point, and I'll put the link will be in the top of the description below, or maybe I'll even put it in the comments, I don't know. So that way, at any point in the 2 weeks, if you want to be in the loop, if you will, for new content, just subscribe to Roll to One. You can remove your subscription from Incarnate. The only thing that will be in Incarnate after those 2 weeks, the only thing that will show up here are what I originally started this channel doing, which is like little sketch videos and things like that. So anything that I want to do personally, any of my personal projects, edits, movie edits and things like that, they'll be done still in Incarnate. It's still going to be in a live channel. But it is no longer, after those 2 weeks, it is no longer going to have any gaming on it. All that gaming is going to be relocated to Roll to One. And I literally mean relocated. It is going to be, I'm going to, over the next 2 weeks, be going through the process of relocating all the videos here. They'll still be here as kind of like an archive, along with a video that says, hey, if you're looking for new stuff, go over to Roll to One. So that Roll to One will essentially be the one-stop shop. You won't have to be like, oh, I have to go here for the new stuff, but if I want to look at some of the older videos, or look at older stuff or the competitions or whatever, I've got to go back to the Incarnate channel. That'll still be there for, like I said, posterity, or for the time being, but it will also be, I will be duplicating it in Roll to One. The playlist will be on Roll to One, so it'll all be there for you. And nothing is changing. It's not like, I've been incorporated or anything. It's just a group of friends that have come together. I mean, we made it a little more formal than that. It's not just a buddy-buddy thing. But predominantly, for the most part, it is at that level. It's not us. And we see Rimmon is going aggro on Draconatus, yeah. Has taken that tact, which I think you could, there's that ugly invasion party that we know and love. And that's the other card. Back to back, those are probably my 2 most loathed cards in this. And you can see, even though Rimmon has been playing this pretty conservatively, that was the first rune break we got turn 9. Already, Draconis is has the ridiculous stuff going on. And right now, Rimmon does not have a direct answer for that gate. And in these colors, you really don't. I mean, maybe your whatchamacallit, mummify, you know, or vipers, you know, things like that. So he does not have necromancer in hand right now, so he can't bring back the viper that he used earlier. So we'll see. We'll see. It's definitely, as you see, it does not take much for invade to be able to amass its power. Yes, and I will be putting this announcement at the start of every video, just so you know there's full awareness. And you know what, if you know folks decide, hey, it was a nice run, but I'm not looking to go to another channel, that's I understand to a degree, but we just want to make it as easy as possible. Like I said, nothing's going to change other than like the intro, outro, and as you probably noticed, the always good to get a prophecy that may really have a big impact on the game. But oh, 9 cost, and of course it's the big old aspect. But yeah, Rimmen, man, he is really up against it. Even as we see, control Talvani, usually pretty darn, I mean, it's still pretty darn good, but yeah, let's see how he navigates this. All right, Elliot Guardian, that's good against lethal. I mean, it dies to a 13/13 anyway, regardless of whether it has lethal or not. There's a necromancer, and there's going to be the viper. A very fortunate. Is he going to? Okay, he's just going to do it on the viper. I was going to say, if he did on the necromancer, oh, but maybe he wanted to kill the viper first. Oh, he's got another one. Okay, he knew. He was aware. He knew that he had another viper, so he can kill off the gate. And because it does have betray, he can do another one. Gonna bring back another necro. Tough call. I mean, he's not dangerously low. At 16, he's still over halfway health, so he's not in incredible peril. But he is doing a good job of filling up the board with necros and lethal things. And Draconatus, whatever, is now out of cards. No gate. Now, granted, he does have that support that can spit out some more gates, but he's going to have a long way to go. And Rimmen, well, okay, I didn't realize Draconis. I wasn't paying attention to how much he had drained up until this point. So Rimmen has a bit of a journey to get him down.
Forgive my error.
Behold my power.
So yeah, I'll probably be a little more brief about the reminders. Just say, hey, check out Roll to One in the description. Link there. Subscribe. And like I said, after 2 weeks, you'll be getting that content. Like I said, it's going to both places for 2 weeks. So at any point, you can just make that transition, go to Roll to One. And the only other content you'll see there, at least for right now, is going to be the tabletop stuff. It's going to be, we do, it's like, I believe, 1 episode a week at least, and then some shorts. So it's not like, oh, it's going to be mixed in, and it's going to be in its own playlist, and it's going to be pretty easy to find, because it's still going to be, I think, just from volume, it's going to be the most videos that you'll see on there. So yeah, really few things changing, just mostly cosmetics and just the location of it. We're just hoping to kind of combine forces and, you know, kind of make it, like I said, a gaming hub. All right, Rimmen is pretty much saying, farewell. I'm going to smite you with many things. And he's just going all in. It took him a long time to say that. I never realized that that's the voice line. It's Morag Bol orders your death. I never knew what he was saying because it took so long. Like normally you say, Morag Bol demand your death. And he's like, Morag Bol demand your death. Okay, it took me a long time to say that. Okay, what else I like Batman? I am Batman. Sweet, roll to the rescue! And now Rimmen and Draconis, I want to say Draconis, shout out to community. Oh, Mundustone, Poopstone! I'm not surprised. It's a type. It's a type. You know, certainly not trying to make broad judgment calls against anybody who, you know, runs Poopstone, but they kind of go hand in hand with the invade shenanigans. Really, not just in playstyle, but I mean that's what. There we go. Boom. Well done, Rimmon. Thank you so much for sending me this game. It was great to see that victory over Invade. Okay, game is not over just yet. We are joining D13, running his Sorcerer deck with Worm King's Agent. He's probably got more in his hand than he won, especially on turn 5. He's got a lot of his high end. They're rank 11 against rank 5. So Brutal versus D13 in what is probably going to be a fantastic match. Brutal running an Archer deck. D13 has definitely made a dent and is going to continue to make a dent. He's got Incano, which now that he's got, now that we're in the final, you know, in the late game, Worm King Incano, it's gonna not ramp nicely. What do you call that? Segue nicely into the high end, and Brutal probably has a Leaf Flicker. Does. I'll tell you what, Leaf Flicker is one of those cards where I always. Like, I can't help but wonder if there are actually, and it's going to use another Worm King. If there are actually only 3 copies in the deck, because it just seems like there's always a Leaf Lurker lurking to leaf me. I don't know. Leave me alone, Lurker. I also wanted to say, because I think this is going to be the second game we view, Brave Caryod has some games in here that she was able to record and used new microphone and new setup and everything. It sounds fantastic. So I'm very happy and very grateful to have those games from Brave. And we've got a game from Frank, if I'm not mistaken. And he actually does his own commentary. There's going to be the audio is a little echoey, unfortunately, but I think it's still fine. You're going to have, I think the first minute or two. He didn't have the mic working, whatever, but he eventually gets it. So it does have his own commentary. I wanted to leave that in there. Anytime you provide your own commentary, as long as it's audible, people can hear it, I want to leave it in there because it's your own thought process, your own way of looking at the deck. I think that's more valuable than just hearing me talk about stuff all the time. All right, so is he gonna take out the 6/4 or Sai Sahan? Or something else. He doesn't have lethal. You can get him down to 15. I think he's got to take out Cradle Crush because Sai, well, it can't be damaged by the guard. But then Brutal might have, if he's got a curse or a way to remove the guard, he's gonna take 6 either way. But right now, at least, he's got a guard in that lane, so he has a chance of blocking. Whereas
I have many important things on my mind.
Okay, 14-14. This is going to be a close finish and befitting the top, almost top 10. And there it is. He's got the 1 ping to get that 6/3 in, but that's a chance he had to take.
That was a fatal mistake.
And does he have Cliff Racer? Wow. 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 And we are rejoining Lanula against El Turbo. El Turbo is a player we've seen many a time in our journeys. And Lanula, top 400, looking to move up. El Turbo in the top 150. And El Turbo has been pouring it on, probably Old Salty's Assaults. Not seen it in the recent. Let me do it. Hey, see, there you go. Battle Mage, see, it tells you. I can't remember. Was it Frank? Were you the one who told me? I think Frank was the one who said you can hover over the attributes and it'll tell you what the 2 attributes are and then therefore what the class is. I never knew that. I've never hovered over this before. What did this tell you? Doesn't tell you that? Doesn't tell you anything. Okay. Speaking of which, of other folks offering some wisdom. Oh boy, this is rough. This is rough. Nice! We get to see the Ambusher pounce. And could be a very timely pouncing indeed. As this is a heck of a board to be up against. Alright, just going to give him the Mud Crab back. Which is fair, because the Mud Crab is going to give Lanula cards as well. Probably see the Wardcraft. That's the only one. You gotta get the Wardcraft on the board. Ward up the guard, so there has to be 2 trades, even if they're not amazing. We'll still take 2 damage at least. And hopefully not going to get a lot from Mudcrab. I will be sprinkling in this video words of wisdom from Ratopia. Ratopia submitted this. I'll put it up on the screen at different points as well, I think, as long as it doesn't cover the gameplay. He just, oops, sorry. Just wanted to give some useful tips, especially for people who are just starting to play the game. And the first one, and I think these are all solid. So if you're a veteran, these are you'll just probably nod sagely and go, yep, that is the truth. If you're new to the game or new-ish, these may be things that you hadn't thought about, or you considered, or that you knew but you didn't really formulate into words. But this one here, don't use the ring on turn 1 if you don't have something to play the next turn. So, yeah, which is great. Well, okay, that's gonna be game right there. Oh boy. Oh no. Well, yeah. Nope, it's still game. I don't know what I'm thinking. Sorry, Lanula. That's a rough onslaught. Hopefully, we'll catch you in a win next time, and we'll discuss that first point in more detail. And Lanula back with a vengeance, running Guildsworn. Now just outside of the top 400, but up against Zauv the Perfect, who is just also outside of 400. Hopefully we will see Lanula conquering. But going back to the first tip, yeah, don't use the ring on turn 1. I would say even like turn 2, maybe, if you don't have anything else to play the next turn. So in other words, if everything else you have is like a 4-drop on turn 1 or even turn 2, just go ahead and wait to use that one. Only using the ring if you can get that momentum going. If it's like, okay, I use the ring to ring into your curve. So, you know, if you play it, you play it in order to, whether you have to ring out play next turn or you're just able to organically play a 2-drop, you essentially do it to gain your momentum. Don't burn the charge if you're gonna have to pass a turn, because more than likely it's not gonna work out. That's a great tip. Number 2. Trade before breaking runes. We see this happen a lot. I've made that mistake many times because of prophecies, pure and simple. You want to make sure that the board is where you want it to be before you break that rune and risk that prophecy. Otherwise, you may find the board state changing decidedly, against, not in your favor, and you're now left, without the resources you need to finish your business. So take care of the board first, and then look to face, unless you're not going to break the rune. But just make sure that there's no way to treat it for your opponent to end up getting a rune break. Like there's if you have breakthrough or something, just make sure that even when you're clearing the board that you're not breaking that rune, unless it really doesn't matter. If you're like, you know what, prophecy, it doesn't matter, I know what I'm going to play next turn and the board doesn't matter. Very rarely do I think that's going to be the case, but it may very well be. But good advice there as well. Make sure you take care of the board before you possibly incur or you invite the randomness that is prophecies. In fact, a lot of my losses in the gauntlet in my other account came from most of them came down to either both or at least one of the last runes being broken, getting a prophecy. I've lost on prophecies because I didn't have a big enough board in order to finish it out on that one turn. And actually, you know what? I didn't, but I had the reach in my hand to finish it off. But the prophecy essentially shackled it. And kudos to my opponent; they had played aggressively enough that the game was pretty much over. As soon as they were able to lock me down, thwart my attempt at lethal, they had lethal next turn themselves. Which is another reason why I went for lethal, even though it was a little bit risky, because they had it next turn anyway, or it looked like they were going to. So I needed to play aggressive and put it down. So it just comes down to that. So yes, prophecies can screw you over. Another note from Radopia. Draw cards first, then use the remaining magicka. This I would say is 99.9% of the time, 100%, 99.9% of the time, exactly right. Always draw first. You never know what options you're going to get from that draw that change it. The only time it's an exception is if you already you have, like, say you have lethal, and I mean obviously that's kind of a duh, but or if it's one of those things where it doesn't matter what your opponent plays or what prophecies get triggered, or like you don't need the draw. You've got in your hand what you need in order to get stuff done, and you're like, this is what I have to do. My opponent is going to kill me with this, so I have to javelin that, and I have to do this. Card draw doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I draw. this is what's got to be done. Then in that instance, which isn't very often, usually you always want to have your options. Oh, that's a... Oh, and sorry, and I didn't even point out here because I didn't think about it, and I didn't see it. Lanula, this is a Guildsworn Unite. So we are hoping to see Lanula unite the houses, and unfortunately, for Lanula, well, fortunately, it's got a cheap green, which is fantastic, and a cheap purple. So essentially, Unite is definitely on the table right now. The problem is, well, it's not a huge problem, but 2 Unites in the hand is not terribly helpful. It doesn't help you get there any quicker. So it's a bit of a bummer. Probably is going to take Brynjolf because can play it this turn. No. Going for Ultimate Heist. Okay. Okay. Alright, so let's see. He's got red, yellow, Flame Lash. Well, Flame Lash is an action. For 5. Oh, red. Oh, yeah. Next turn. Unite. Bendari, that's 4. Discard and Lynch, that's 8. That's it. I think we're going to see you Unite next turn. Unless I did my math wrong. Or unless Zauv is able to remove. Nope. That's it. I think that's it. I think that's a good game. Lanula, uniting the houses. Yes, yes. There goes the Bendari Opportunist. Yes, Kaji. And there goes the Lich. Boom. And there goes Unite. Nicely done. Alrighty, and I'm going to go ahead and play just because nobody's actually playing a game right now. It is about 12:30 in the afternoon my time, and yeah, just nobody's mixing it up at the moment.
Greetings, citizen.
Luck to your house.
And this is a battle mage deck. This is a garbage battle mage. There's no strategy, whatever. I just threw stuff in a deck just to give it a try.
I do not fear death.
Hey! 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 You know what? There's really no great way to do this. Oh, wait. No. I can Warcraft that, trade, and then go with face. Oh, okay. Thank you, Brave. Appreciate it. Brave's got some more games that she's recorded, which is very helpful. Ooh. Oh, that burns my lane as well, so.
Careful there, friend.
Yeah, so it really is just, I just kind of went through and was like, I'll take this one, and we'll see what happens.
Shadow.
Nothing particularly astounding. Ah, boy, really nothing good here, huh? I mean, that does... I mean, this is just so sloppy. But my original plan was just to spend the tickets and just... Because I just want the alternate art, really. I'm not terribly worried about winning. Alright, so looks like...
You will die.
Yeah, it was... Well... I would Skaven, but... That doesn't take care of this. So, what do you say we... Maybe we'll play another small creature. I don't know. But anyway, so third tip from Radopia. Determine if you're the aggressor or the defender. If you're the aggressor, don't miss face damage and don't be afraid of prophecy, but be prepared for it. If you're the defender, don't touch your opponent until you're sure of winning, and that's by card advantage. Okay. Let's see. Wow, he's really not... Well, I guess I can...
The elements are mine to control.
They will perish in flame.
That wasn't too bad. Running low on cards already, though. Thanks, opponent. Appreciate you, Beast of... Oh, Beast of Burden!
Thank you.
Beast of Burden, I know you, Beast of Burden. Yeah, this is a friend. Sorry, Beast. I didn't even... I'm so... My head's in 15 different directions right now. But, yeah, it's great to see you. So, we'll see how Beast does.
Should help you.
Well, yep, that's going to be pretty effective. You know what?
This might be handy.
The idea has merit. Okay. Ooh. Oh, I thought he gave that to him. Oh, that's pretty darn good.
I'll kill you where you stand.
So
Centaur, give me strength.
beast. It is quite a lane, but I've lost games with lanes like that before, so you're not done.
Walk.
There you go. Okay, now that's where we need Belly G, and I am well. I mean, Belly G has to come down anyway. Screw it.
Blood and faith.
We may save him for this
The forest is my
prophecy.
strength
Yep.
and my courage.
Cool.
I'm ready for you.
I'll crack your head.
All right, so we got him down to 10. But yeah, and that's a big one from Ratopia. That is a big tip, a good tip. Determine whether or not you're the aggressor or defender. That's going to determine... Oh, no! That's a great card.
Nicely done.
The forest is my strength.
That's
and my
going to
courage.
be very effective, unfortunately.
Centaur, give me strength. I'm ready for you.
Ominous insects. They dare face me?
You don't see the snake, but that's a huge momentum change. If we were racing, that's a backbreaker right there. Okay, we're very lucky that's not Dawn Fang, because he could have drained for 6 off of that. Now he's got to...
Feel the power.
All right, you got to make some choices. We got our heirloom greatsword back, though, which is the beauty of it.
Walk with our Lord.
Good game.
This was a worthy contest.
Well fought.
Your time has come.
This episode sponsored in small part by the legendary Remnant Discord. In a world where Discords are legendary, and there are remnants who are also legendary, and there's a game called Elder Scrolls Legends, which also references legendary things. If people want to also be legendary, they should go to the Discord that's also called Legendary Remnant Discord for the game that also has legendary or legend in the title, and they can talk to people, and they can create cool decks and get deck ideas for different gauntlets and things like that, and just commiserate about how the game can totally host people over. That's more of my experience. Anyway, I'm breaking the wall, but yeah, I was actually on there with C-City the other day as I did 3 gauntlet runs and went 0-3, 2-3, and 1-3, I believe. So I was commiserating with him. But anyway, the primary sponsor of this video is Scout's Reconnaissance from the brilliant mind of Vincenzo. Once again, I think we might have another one coming, a different creator for next week's. I have to look ahead, but at least for now, Vincenzo has run the gamut here, has definitely had a plethora of great card ideas, and this is a great one too. This is spot-on card artwork. I think that is, it is chef's kiss as is. It looks great, looks fantastic, and, well, is that better? Yeah, okay. Fantastic is better than great, so at least it was an ascending order. It looks great, looks fantastic. Coloring and the art style, everything, it looks right as is, and it just so happens that because it is Argonians and he's green, the color schemes all match. It's just a beautiful looking card, so right off the jump, it's got a great aesthetic. Scout's Reconnaissance, it's an action in Scout. Select a card in your opponent's discard pile. When your opponent draws a copy of that card, you draw a card. So this is definitely right up Scout's alley, Scout being known for different ways of getting card draw, especially in agility. We have Scout Report, which is a 1-cost. Look at the top card of your deck, and you can either discard it or... I don't think you can... Does it put it in your hand, or does it... I think you put it in your hand, right? I can't remember if you put it in your hand, or that's just the next card you're going to draw. Anyway, I've never actually used it myself, to be honest. But, I mean, this is right there. So select a card in your opponent's discard pile. When your opponent draws a copy of that card, you draw a card. So because this is conditional, like, there's already a 3-cost card draw in Endurance, which is the Endural Mastermind, or whatever it is. The guy who looks like, to me, like Elrond or Agent Smith. What's his name? Hugo Weaving. He looks a lot like Hugo Weaving to me, especially at a distance. But it used to be draw 2 cards and choose 1 to discard. So you had a way of kind of cycling through that, putting cards in your graveyard. He got nerfed. He no longer does that. Still a 3-cost, 2/1 body, I believe, and you draw a card. And that's unconditional. That's just essentially put a body down, draw. It's kind of like a more expensive Thieves Guild. So I think this could probably go down to a 2-cost, I think, because it is conditional. First you have to draw this, then you're selecting a card in your opponent's discard, and it isn't until that card comes up again that you draw a card. And you are taking a chance, too, because depending on how you build your deck or how you know your opponent builds their deck, like I find myself running a lot of 2 ofs. I don't necessarily run 3 ofs for a lot of cards. There are some obviously that are going to be staples, but a lot of times I'm going to run 1 or 2. And so in a 75 card deck or a 50, I mean, more in a 75 card deck, I'm more likely to have 3 copies in there. But even then, there may be a card where I'm like, I just want to have 1 of these in there for flavor. So this card does have a pretty high risk where you need, the card that you select from that discard, you're betting that your opponent has more of them in their deck. This isn't the only one. Otherwise, this is going to be a waste of 3 magicka as it stands now. But even then, even if they are running, and even if they are running 2 copies, 2 more copies of it, you never know when that's going to show up. It may show up. Well, I think that covers it. We don't know. It could show up at the next turn, or it could be never the entire rest of the game. So it is a high risk and not really a terribly high reward. It's just you draw a card. It's not you draw that card and another one. So I would say almost because of the risk, it could almost be when your opponent draws a copy of that card, you draw 2 cards. I do like the idea of you kind of taking a gamble, you interacting with it in that way, going, okay, I'm going to select this. And your opponent really doesn't have any control of that. Even if they know what card you select, there's really going to be no way for them to make sure that they don't draw that. They're just going to draw what they draw. So it's not an interactive thing necessarily, but it's you kind of gambling on a factor in the game. Instead of going, oh, guess what? Does your opponent have this card in their hand right now? I mean, that's fine. That's another gambling thing. But this is another one with a decent payoff. You get to draw a card as soon as they do, but really you're paying 3 to draw a card, but you don't get it immediately. So I would say either it needs to have there needs to be draw 2 cards because of a high risk, high reward, or at the very least it needs to be a 2 cost. Because there's already that 3 cost draw card, and I mean, and come on, let's face it. For Scout, there are a ton of really great draw options. Immediate draw options where this is at some point in the future you may be able to draw a card, but maybe not. It depends how many copies they're running of that card and if they draw it. So the condition I think would make it maybe it could even go down to a 1 because it's kind of like Scout Report. I think in some regards. So I don't know. But I do think one way, either reducing the cost or allowing for a 2 card. I think the risk is high enough that it should. If we're gonna leave it at a 3, you draw 2 cards. That said, I am curious what you all think. So I mentioned it earlier that each attribute needs to kind of have its own thing. Otherwise, they all end up playing essentially the same. You just have different colors to choose from. You can't have a ton of drain in strength, for example, because then your battle mage is no longer a, hey, hit hard, hit fast, lots of power, maybe guard a little bit, but just try to get that damage in there. It can become a control deck just like that. It kind of is. We've seen Aros do it with the Clockwork Dragon. If you put a little bit of drain options in there, it changes it offsets the weaknesses of the battle mage deck. So all that to say, I think something like that where it's draw power, but it's not great draw power. I feel like there's a lot of draw power in Scout already that would make this, particularly at this cost, not a very enticing possibility. But I think giving that gambling aspect to, I don't know, I would say, yeah, Intelligence. Intelligence really doesn't have any draw. They've got Ice Spike, and then there's one card where if you have 2, she's like a 5 cost, 3/5, I think. And if you have 2, or maybe it's 3, but I think it's 2 intelligence, creatures on the board, you can draw a 3rd one. But that's not really a great option. I would almost, I like this idea. Select a card in your opponent's discard pile. I see this as almost like a revealing the unseen type thing. Like you could make it a spell where it's like, I don't know, delayed payback or something, something like that, where it's something that it gives a deck that doesn't usually have a lot of draw power the opportunity for it, but it's still iffy. It's not great. It's kind of like with agility, you have your contracts. They're not really ramp per se. They're a temporary turn-based ramp, and they're very finite, and it's, they don't snowball and everything, so it's not quite ramp, but it's kind of there. So if you were to give this, I think, to intelligence, I don't know if you would just make it a straight blue, or maybe make it an endurance. I'm sorry, a sorcerer thing. Make it endurance or purple and blue, because again, that's another one that doesn't have a ton of draw unless you want to use the mastermind. You really don't have a lot of draw in either of those colors. But besides, like I said, Ice Spike, which doesn't find its way into a ton of decks these days, but it at least gives it some opportunity to have that draw in there. So I don't know. Y'all can let me know what you think. When you have something like this, it's a cool mechanic. It's a cool way of triggering a draw. I think I would feel better with a 3/2. 3 cost, 2 cards drawn when your opponent draws the copy of that card. I think that's where it would feel good for me. That may be overpowered. I don't know. I just think that would be it, because a 2 cost to draw 1 at some point in the future, perhaps, I think that's still kind of expensive. I think the reward needs to be worth the risk. So either a 2 cost or a 3 cost. If it's 2 cost, it would definitely have to be an epic, I think. But yeah, that's how it shakes down for me. But you can let me know what you think. Is it something where you don't want to give any real qualities that are specific to endurance or agility to other decks, because that'll offset the balance? Or do you say, well, something like this that isn't necessarily a top tier option, give them a little something, give them a possibility of being able to draw more? I don't know. But I do think it could be fine as is. I do think it's just cost-wise and risk-reward ratio is a little bit off in favor of the risk. But otherwise, like I said, looks great, and I no matter what, I like the text in this. I like selecting a card and then being able to draw when your opponent does. I like that kind of chain of events effect. I think it creates a new level of interaction. I just wonder if it's in the right colors or not in the right colors. I mean, obviously it fits these colors, but would it be apropos to put it in something else that maybe could use a little bit of potential high risk, high reward draw? Anyway, Vincenzo, once again, thank you so much for the brilliant creation, and now we will get you back to the game.
I think after much playing around and also watching several YouTube videos on OBS filters and things, I'm hoping I've finally got the balance right with this, so that you're not going to hear the background noise from the fan. I mean, my fan's not that noisy, but obviously the mic is very sensitive. I hope I got the rates right, but let's see. Yippee not! It's going to be a Dragon Resurrection Parthenax abuse skit, isn't it? I can just tell from the colours. 98% of the matches I've had in the last 2 to 3 days have been with exactly that, when it's been running those colours, so
Bright moons light your path.
I might be the only person on ladder who actually wants to see goblins when they see those colours. Easy way to test. Let's just put her out. See whether or not the giggly ha 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 goblin comes out. Not a very good impersonation, is it? It's dragons. Yippee not.
For Valenwood.
So I'm a bit hoarse because I've
For
Ulfric Stormcloak.
been trying to test the microphone levels on and get everything right and get the background noise eliminated for this new mic. So I'm a bit hoarse from all the talking. I apologise for that, but right. Thank you, Harpy. And I'm still going to bash that because I want to get my Stormcloak battalion guy. I've got to kill this person quickly. Oh, yippee. If I had any doubt whatsoever. Get rid of that lethal guy. Whip him some more. And I think I'm going to go for the Atronach. Just for extra bodies on the board. Gives me a bit more versatility. It's harder for them. Much harder for them to actually clear out at this early stage. Yippee not. Still, I can get some breakthrough damage in there. Every little bit helps, doesn't it? Look at that. At least it wasn't... At least it wasn't a lethal guard, but that's quite good for me actually, because I've got much nastier, juicier targets for them to hit with a Mummify, haven't I? Bet they're wishing they kept that now. I feel a shadow shift coming on. Gotta keep killing them. Running out of time to kill them before they get their shenanigans on.
Perhaps we can help one another.
Ah, one of my new darlings he is. He's done good work for me today. Oh, they don't like my mummy. You traitor.
Nicely done.
I always say nicely done when someone uses him though, because he's one of my favourites, isn't he? Let's get rid of that rubbishy guard.
Stay back.
Whiff them some more.
Sorry it had to come to
And
this.
I think I'm going to rapid shot the Death Priest to see if I can get another Harpy, hopefully. Oh, thank you. You're doing well today, aren't you? You loyal friend. Right. Looks promising, but I've been in so many games where... Oh, look at that. I was about to say Red Barman is going to come out, and sure enough he did, the traitor. Look, you're meant to be on my side of the board, you two, not theirs. I think... Yeah. I think Stormcloak guy and... Oh, do I want to Shadow Shift? No, hang on. Let's keep the versatility there. Stormcloak guy and the mummy, and then if they manage by some miracle to kill everything, they're going to leave the mummy, aren't they? And then I can just kill them with the battle mace and the mummy. That'd be quite funny, actually.
May the fates smile on Khajiit.
Fingers firmly crossed. I know it looks like an obvious win, but I've been in so many situations where I had someone on like ridiculously low health and they managed to pull it out of the bag, and then I lose. I mean, if I can't kill them with the mummy, hopefully Telfos will stay alive because he's done good work. I quite like to kill them with him as well. Always a tense moment. Are they sulking? I mean, those two guys, really, the traitors being on wrong side of the board, aren't they?
Surrender or die.
Good tell. Please be a rubbish dragon. That I can deal with. Thank goodness. Okay, Shadow Shift. Oh look, they're sulking. Right.
This one thanks
Sorry it
you.
had to come to this.
Thank you, darlings. Good old Telvos.
Okay, we are right at the start of a game with Banana Schwaaard friends against Accelero, the Lich. Master of Dragons versus the Lich. We see no dragons in Banana Schwab's hand. But we are seeing that card that we saw from Beast of Burden. The Prophecy of Viper, Prophecy Spoiter. Yes. And quite an... Staff of Sparks going to be fantastic here. I mean, granted, might eat an Edict. Oh, wait, are Edicts still in this? Or at least another Shadowfen. But for at least the time being, nice Staff of Sparks combination. Okay, yep, there is an Edict. So D13, he had commented at one point that he's was kind of feeling a lack of passion for the game at this point, which I can certainly relate to at different times. My passion for observing really has never gone away, but my passion for playing definitely ebbs and flows. And so he was expressing a little bit of that a while back, or about a week or so ago. I think the last time we spoke. And so I was like, I'm happy to see you mixing it up. And he said, well, I don't have any better options right now, and I should be grading papers, but who wants to do that? Which I can understand. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but it's just fun. It's so crazy because if I'm able, I've been out of the classroom for so long that it's hard for me to put my brain in that condition. But I remember, for a long time, like when I graduated college and a lot of my friends started becoming teachers, that's when it really was like, it was just kind of a cool, weird thing. It's like, wait, so, for the first 12 years of your life, well, not 12 years, 17 years of your life, 18 years of your life, except for your first 5, which you don't remember all that well, the first, your formative years, you've always got a teacher. You've got that authority figure. And a lot has changed since I went to school in terms of how they're looked at and everything. But, it is still that kind of authority figure. And so they're looked at a certain way. It's kind of like your parents. Like, I remember when my parents became human to me because they were parents before. And parents aren't the same as people. Parents are something different. My parents relate to me in a uniquely way that no other adults do. So it's like you have adults and then you have parents. Parents are like your hyper adults. They're like augmented adults. Teachers too. Teachers are not just adults. They have authority. They run a classroom or what have you. So, but it's just weird to think now, like, obviously I'm well over the age of, I could probably be in retirement now if I was a teacher. Well, and maybe not that old. Definitely if I was in the military. But anyway, just to think that we've got players on here, people who are, playing this game and everything. And it's like, to some kids, they are teachers. They are the uber adults. but they play card games, you know. It's not weird. It's interesting. But speaking of which, oh no, Accelero had the magic combo. I lost to that. Opponent had 2 cards in their hand, and guess what they were? It was the Dark Seducer and Squish the Wimpy. Lethal next turn. That's what they played. And I just played my Shadow Fen as a tempo card. There was nothing for him to silence. I needed to do 4 points of damage, and I had 2 in one lane, 4 in the other, and I wanted to just make sure I could push the extra 4. And that's when he put her down there. And boom, 2 lightning bolts. Well done, Banana. Master of Dragons. So after that, kick in the TESL crotch right there, I tell you. You see opponent drop 3 Master of Thieves in one turn with, oh, that was brutal. That was brutal. My maths, they were not so good. Banana saw it, but way before I did. And congratulated his opponent accordingly. Here we have D13 and Zombie Pact. Giggles! Hello, Giggles! Looks like D13 is going to be able to pull this one out handsomely. Has navigated now, almost top 10. The very aerodynamically maligned Wilds Incarnate, giving him 1 single card. I'm guessing Zombie Pact is playing a support monk that just didn't find forward camp. That's really all it takes. No forward camp, no whatever that gal is.
Spirit of the sky, guide us.
So Giggles just wanting to stay alive. Will not stay alive. Got a Nahagleave probably coming down next turn. Nope. Temple Conjure and Lezra. No, that's not right. It is right, Lezra. It is very right. There's a forward camp coming late to the party.
No matter what.
But not but let's see, is it too late? Let's see, that's 10. Yeah, I think D13's got more than enough for each. She's got 2 from High King, 3 from Steel Sword, that's 5. 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 26. He has lethal for days.
Dark times breed dark omens.
It looks like D13 has been able to amass a board and whittle Zebo down, or Zobi.
I hate this crowd.
Interesting. Okay. Well, and I do remember Aros saying, you got to be. Yeah, I would be surprised if D13 didn't see the lethal there. It was more of, I just want to make sure the board is clear. Play it safe, because 2 prophecies and you go from having lethal to kind of being on the back foot, and if your opponent has a full, a decent board, then you could really be hurting. So, but in that case, it paid off well for D13. All right, right at the top of a game against. Alrighty, this is starting fresh, or relatively fresh. Well, I mean, it's turn 7, but it is. We are still very early on in terms of health total. Fluffy Fries against a. Looked like a mage invade? Invade mage? Invade? Invade, there you go. Up against an invade deck. Ruwendel. The Miraculous.
count on our wits.
D13 wish. Oh, gotcha. So D13 is suffering from. Oh, that's right. D13, you just came back after a while, so you don't have a ton. So yeah, D13 is part of his issue right now is not having a ton of options for his deck. So it's not necessarily getting tired of the game that I think I mentioned earlier. It was more of getting tired of playing the same decks because he just doesn't have the option right now to play more. I am honestly thinking, because I don't know, as I've said, I don't know how much I'll be playing the game ultimately. So obviously I'd keep this account in order to do stuff, but I'm thinking about the alternate account maybe, because I got very lucky. I don't know if I told you all when right after I got the alternate account, there was this weird glitch where I kept getting that those the last thing that was released that everybody got that had the premium Call Dragon and all those cards. Normally you can't dust those and you only get one copy of them, but for whatever reason, if I saw that notice come up that said, hey, you've been given those cards, and I already had them, if I were to dust, if I were to buy a deck of cards and dust it, it would automatically dust the duplicate premiums. So I was getting like 15,000 soul gems every time that happened, and the glitch probably happened 8 or 9 times. It would only happen when I had only, like I said, I had all the cards, I had all the premiums. If I open up the game and it said, oh, you've got a reward, claim, do you want to claim your whatevers? That told me that as long as I dusted a deck that in that session, I'd be able to dust those duplicate premiums. So I got a ton of soul gems and was able to build up a pretty good collection right off the jump. I did also pay money because I didn't pay any money the first, I don't know how long I played this game. I mean, I bought a few like ancillary packs or what do you call those? A few of the alt art stuffs. Oh goodness, things are looking kind of dour here. Come on, Fluffy. We need this win against invade. Spider lair. I just noticed that he's running that. I was like, wait a minute. Wow. Only other player I knew that ran that was Mad Oblivion. Ooh. And we very well could see a nice beefy ice storm. And, oh no, he doesn't have mushroom power. I was thinking he could do it twice, but. Almost, oh! With Mentor's Ring, he could finish off the gate. Right? Mentor's Ring is +3? Yep. Does he want to do that, though? Drain Blood would get it done too, but then he has to get rid of his 6/3. And he does. Chooses to hold on to Mentor's Ring for another time and is able to get himself well out of harm's way. Now, Rowendell still has a lot of cards to play, and that's a big one. I could see him wanting to Mana Marco that. So we'll probably see Encano come down.
I have many
Hit the gate.
things on my mind.
Now that the dragon is shackled. Or, okay, no! Brilliant! Much smarter. See, again, smart play. Because now the Mania lane, it rewards people with a higher health count, not power. And so by doing that, he ensured that Rowendell would not get that extra drain off of...
The Oriole do not waste time chatting with mortals.
Okay. Unfortunate, because he could have debated. Now, but we might see Mana Marco next turn. Because that would be another great Devaith's experiments. Another amulet. Against anything but invade, I would say that's pretty much a death knell. Still very well could be. He is going to yoink back Forces of Destruction. Interesting. Did he do that just so that Rowendell couldn't bring... But he couldn't bring that back anyway, right?
Everyone does.
At this point, for most folks that I see play, I just take it on faith that if I don't understand a play, more than likely it's because it was just a really smart play and it went above my head. I'm just wondering what Forces of Destruction
The Oriole do not
offers.
waste time. Jack.
Summon a Daedra with a total cost 10. Maybe that was it. He was just doing it for the big old Daedra. This is quite a fitting match. Fox goes down, makes Gate bigger. Too big for...
I am the emptiness at the center of your...
He's already got those keywords going. This is dangerous, a dangerous spot for old Fluffy Fries. What is his, Oh, 2 power or less. I thought it was that one guy that you, if you exalted him, which, yeah, it wouldn't work anyway, but... Alright, so they've got defensive Broomer, breaks Rune, but I think that's because he's going to Dawn's Wrath the heck out of that lane. Oh, and we had some weird visual jankiness come down on that.
Listening to me?
He's going to ring, yeah, he's going to, so he's got Dawn's Wrath, 0 cost Dawn's Wrath in his deck, and that may very well be the beginning of the end for our invade player. I love that sound effect. Oh, there it goes. Got yourself a fork. You got forked, man. You got forked.
You will know pain and suffering.
You will be devoured in shadow.
And once again, luckily Fluffy Fries has been keeping his health up. Those Necro Amulets are huge for him. Okay, there you go. All guards down. He's going to be able to make whatever trade he wants, which actually he can't trade great for any of them at the moment. But he's not interested in trading. He is interested in winning this game ASAP. And Rowendell is going to have to trade if he wants to avoid that. Let's see, it says that's 6, 12, 13, 16. That gate's getting out of hand again. I'm very quick, I realize, to say when a game is over. And that reflects my mentality as well, which isn't always good. And maybe it's not great. There's so many games. Well, not so many. There have been games where I've thought about conceding. When I see something come down, I'm like, I'm not gonna bother playing through this. And then I'm like, screw it, might as well for whatever reason. And I end up winning. And so it's something in my head that just I see something happen. I'm like, oh, the game's over at this point. So I thought the game was over 2 turns ago when Fluffy Fries was able to get rid of that gate, but Rowendell is just tenaciously clinging to life. Well, the crisis will never begin again. Not at least in this game. At least not in this game. That's what I'm going to say. You might see a soul gem. Yep, there we go. Now Fluffy Fries has a nice wide assortment of...
What have we here?
Oh, Rowendell gets that. That gate is really helping him right now. That's what's keeping him in this game, to be honest. How many cards does he have left? 29? Well, 24. So, not enough that Fluffy Fries is going to be able to starve him out.
I will know paradise, weakling.
Just don't see an answer for that gate right now. And we're going to see all the Dawn's Wrath go away. Unfortunately. Yup. And starting to get those snowballing keywords. Can Mana Marco bring something back?
Comes. I won't need to hide any longer.
What can he bring back? I should say who. He could bring back Duke of Mania. Ooh, Sorcerer. That's going to be a good one. Really not anything worth Mana Marcoing, I don't think. Fluffy has the patience of a saint. My goodness gracious. Oh, like I'm not bored. I mean, this is incredible to watch. But if I was playing, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know if a win is worth it. But against Invade, I think it is most certainly worth it. And this could very well be his gateway game. I'm scared to ask him. Ooh, that's a nice big 9-10, and that is a lethal spooter down there in that lane. If Rowendell is not able to deploy a bunch of guards, or it looks like he's already going to be able to get rid of that. Yep. Going to protect his precious gate.
You will know pain and suffering.
I mean, Lord, yeah. I mean, Sorcerer's going to be able to do good work. He's going to be able to get him down to 6, it looks like, although I don't know. This is it. This is Rowendell's final push, it looks like. It was a big push. If Fluffy Fries can get rid of that gate. Oh, dear. Not charge. Oh, come on, game. Really? Mm. We're going to see Sorcerer. Yep. I knew we were going to see him. I just didn't know if we'd see him in the field lane or shadow lane. I think he has to do it to protect himself. But then he has no hope of getting rid of that. Well, maybe he does. If Rowendell has no way to deal with that lethal spider in this shadow lane, then it really comes down to this turn. This whole game comes down to this turn right here. Does he have removal for the spider? If not, well, actually no. I think Fluffy is still going to be hurting regardless. Because even if he gets rid of the gate, Rowendell still has too many. If he was top decking right now, I would say so. But
your blood is forfeit.
So Fluffy avoided damage to his face. Gosh darn it, man! That is so frustrating. I hate that card so much.
You trusted me. How foolish.
That looks good. Fluffy has a...
Emptiness at the center of your
Yes, Fluffy! That was so fast. Like, you know, when you see a card come down that quick, I was like, I know he's gonna bring something back. I just don't know what it is. That was it. Man, that was awesome. That was awesome. And he's got a big, beefy 6/6 in that lane so that he will be getting... No! God, no! Jeez! Oh, I'm so angry! I'm so angry on behalf of Fluffy Fries!
Your blood.
Oh, I am so furious right now that is in the final cards that Rowendell had in his hand. That's freaking what he had. I mean, Territorial Viper's good. It's okay. Draw first. Going back to those principles from earlier. Nice. Oh, I am a goober. I don't care. Like I have these fits that I swing, but man, I am so thrilled to see that. Wow. I mean, Fluffy Fries has a ways to go, but man, could he deck this guy? 17 cards, unlikely. It's just never ending. Oh. But that was I mean, regardless, Fluffy Fries has played a heck of a great game. Can't say the same for his opponent, who's just spam gates, but great playing by Fluffy Fries. And his headless zombie could bring back, and there's that. Automatically gates up to 12 already. Everything he's got coming down at least. Oh no, that's worst case scenario. So headless zombie might just bring back that guy who destroys creatures with less than 16 hit points. I mean, he'd probably like to bring back Manamar. Oh, what's his face? Actually, he might do Marak. Oh no, Manamarco? Oh, Gravesing. Interesting. I would have thought he would have either gone for... But again, the question is not me, is not a statement of me going, this is what I would have done. It is just me going, okay. Not something... But, you know, again, I go for the obvious play. Is there a limit on this? Drop a copy of the consumed card.
Speak, citizen.
Slow clap for getting all the stuffs on your... Oh, man. I mean, that's all right. The gate's going down. Again. Whoa! Okay, he's going to trade 5. Gravesinger. Another card you just don't get to see a whole lot of.
The end of life is not the end of usefulness.
Oh. Yep. At the end of your turn, summon the highest creature from your discard pile and give it charge. So for him, is that Manamarco? It would be Sorcerer first, which is kind of unfortunate. That's also unfortunate. Right now, Fluffy Fries has the lead in... There we go. Ooh! Look at that! Flesh Atronach! Oh my gosh!
It has been an engaging hunt.
Not yet, Fluffy. If he's got another Dawn's Wrath or there, oh yes! What a game! Oh! And with that, we are going to end the video. Whew. Once again, thank you, all of you, for continuing to play at such a high level, bringing these fantastic games for me and for everyone else to watch. That was an amazing win. Of course, I was all over the place emotionally. I was up and down, and that's probably why me and this game have drifted apart a little bit, because I just have those highs and lows while I'm playing, which doesn't help me play any better. So that would be one other point I would like to make in Radopia's very well crafted and good list. Keep those emotions in check. Don't let yourself get carried away. It can be a little hard because I know for me personally, I don't experience quite the high when I win. Like, I get excited watching other people win. If I win a game, I'm relieved. That's the feeling that I get. When I win a game, I feel relieved. I'm not happy. I'm not excited unless I did some amazing combo or something, which very rarely happens for somebody who plays like I do. It's usually just relief. And so when you don't have highs and lows, you have relief, which is pretty much stabilized, and then you have these depths, which are just losing. It can be very hard to keep a level head and to stay in the game. But just know, it never helps getting emotion into it, getting upset, getting angry. It's not going to help your play. You're not going to get better. It may help certain things in life, like if you need to lift something heavy and you're angry, you just go, and you Hulk lift, whatever. But that's the other thing. Just try to keep those in check, because only with level-headed emotions can you continue to play at your optimum best, which is what you need. Otherwise, the snowballing happens. Snowballing can happen anyway. You can just kind of end up at the bottom of the snake without even realizing it, but it gets exponentially faster and easier to lose if you lose control of those emotions. So that's all I've got. Whew, this has been about 2 hours worth. I'm going to break this up into 2 videos, but my goodness, that was an amazing game to end on. Thank you again for everyone playing. Thank you, Brave Carriot, for offering up those games. Greatly appreciate it, and I know you got some more coming, so I am looking forward to those. Thank you, Radopia, for the tips for new players, and thank you all for watching. And until next time, keep playing.